Alright guys, what's up? It's kind of a big event. Been meaning to start this project of shooting different locations with different people on cannabis topics. Been looking to do it for a while now. And so the first person is Zakk from puffitup. Zakk, thanks for being here.
Hi, happy to be here. I'm glad you chose me.
Yeah,
it's been a fun time.
We're here in State Line, is that
State Line, Nevada. Yep.
State Line, Nevada.
We're up in the Sierra Nevada mountains.
Yep, puffitup is located here, not too far away, about 4 or 5, 2 miles or so.
Yep.
4 or 5, there you go. 4 or 5, 2, it's all the same. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came into the company.
I started in college with vaporizers in general. I smoked cannabis for the first time in high school, had a bad experience, waited until college to try it again. That first experience was on a frozen pond in Massachusetts, and I fell through the pond shortly after trying it. So I had an anxiety attack, obviously. It was a little scary. Yeah. In college, I actually was addicted to alcohol, vodka in particular. And my sophomore year, I started looking into cannabis because a couple people in my major, I was a bio major at the time, still was, graduated with my biology degree, suggested I try cannabis to wean myself off the alcohol. Okay. And it worked. It worked very well. It was brilliant. And I really hated smoking. So I reached out to Randy on the subreddit Vaporents on Reddit, and we started chatting. My first vape was a Flower Mate Mini Pro in blue. Okay. I named her Blueberry.
There you go.
It was a very, very fun vaporizer. And shortly after that, I started doing reviews for the company. Not necessarily because they wanted me to, but just because I wanted to talk about them. Okay. I was a college student, so I wrote a lot. It was very natural to me. So I started a website, I started an Instagram, and I took it from there. My senior year, Randy said that if I wanted a job, all I had to do was fly out here and I would have one. So I took him up on it, and since then it's been fantastic. We've enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, you get to try a lot of vapes.
Oh yeah, hundreds.
Well, lucky you. I have to buy all mine, and it turns into quite the hobby.
Oh yeah.
And you can never quite own enough.
Nope.
And the
vaporizer acquisition syndrome.
The real problem is you can watch stuff, but until you have it, you can't determine, what you like and what you don't. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that I've seen, other people review, and you're like, oh, that seems like a no-brainer. Like, to throw out names, Hayes Square. Seemed great on paper. People reviewed it, said it worked great. I got mine, and it just, whether they said they fixed the seal issue on my batch, but it just never produced vapor for me. Okay. And so I just, it was something that's the beauty of owning a couple vaporizers, is if it doesn't give me that like first hit and you're like, wow, that was really nice, you can just move on.
That's true.
And unfortunately, I've bought in a few that you have to put in the shelf, or put on the shelf and say, that's it. That's the last that we're gonna, use of that. So it's beautiful that you get to just try all of them out, and what you like, you end up buying for yourself, and what you don't, you're just like, oh well, we'll keep selling them.
Pretty much. Well, we don't sell anything we don't like. Yeah. If more than one of us has a disagreement with a vaporizer being sold, it's taken off the shelf. In general, there are vaporizers that individuals in the company may necessarily not enjoy. And we're honest about that to people, But most of the vapes that we sell, every single one of us uses. We don't like to sell something, or it's very hard to sell something that you don't actually connect with. Right.
Now, how many people actually work for your company? It's always you and Randy, so you never really know how many other people. I mean, I don't know. You don't have to answer that, I guess, if you don't want to, but I've always been curious of...
I don't have an exact number, but here in State Line, because we also have customer service reps. Okay. And they're all in the U.S., but the customer service reps can work from home, which is very, very nice. Perfect. And, but in the office, we have 4 of us, and then we have a couple packers in our warehouse. Obviously, Eric and Allison, everyone knows them. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Daniel is a packer on the weekends, but he also does a lot of other work in the office. Jake, Randy, and I all are in the office 99% of the time. Okay. And then we have customer service reps. I don't know every single one of them yet, but I've been trying to meet all of them. The problem is time zones, and some of them work at night. So for me to work 16 hours in a day or be up for 16 hours, it's really hard to push the next 6 hours or 7 hours to meet somebody. You know, it's going to be more of a natural thing when that happens.
So what's some of the vaporizers that have really just blown you out of the water from the word go?
The Dynavap products, mainly the Omni XL. As soon as I got that vaporizer, I knew it was my daily driver. The first hit I took out of it. First hit. The Mighty, probably second session was when I realized how to pack it correctly, and it blew me away.
Okay.
Vape XL Evo surprised me. I didn't think that it produced as much vapor as it really does. I thought it was all editing and post.
Smoke and mirrors, if you will.
Basically, I thought it was people adding e-juice to it or something to produce more vapor. But no, it actually hits as hard as it looks like it hits.
Wow.
It's crazy. The Titanium is a recent addition to the shop, and that took us by surprise. Randy actually found that at Champs, sent a picture to us and was like, what do you guys think? And we all went, well, it looks okay, but how's it hit? And he goes, it was the most amazing experience I've ever had.
Were they at Champs?
They were at Champs.
Okay, so I had gone to Champs. Fun background story for you. Went to Champs thinking that it was a public show. Got there, and it wasn't. Troy was going to be there from 420 Vape Zone, and Dan, the creator of Mod Pod Labs, was going to be there, and so I wanted to meet them, and I'm like, hey, Vegas isn't far away from me. I'll go down. So got there, and I'm like, hey, where do you buy tickets to get in? And the guy's like, where's your badge? I'm like, what badge? And I found out that it was not free to the public. So luckily I connected with Dan, and Dan was like, oh, I'll get you in, it's not a big deal. And I managed to get in, but I didn't see Titanium.
Yeah.
And that is a vape I've looked into. I've had a couple desktops. The Flower Pot.
Oh, you've owned a Flower Pot?
I own a Flower Pot.
Ooh.
I've got the V-Rod, and that is that was my first desktop that really, I tried that out and I'm like, whoa, that'll throw you for a loop.
Yeah, everyone is very, very happy to own portables, but no one understands what vaporizers can do until you try a desktop or a Mighty.
Yeah.
Because for some reason the Mighty hits like a desktop, but it's yay big.
See, and I didn't love the Mighty at first. I owned one because I felt like it's one of those ones, if you're gonna collect vaporizers, it's one you have to own it.
Yep.
And I tried it with the pods and I tried it without, and it wasn't my favorite. I actually liked the Fury 2 more.
Okay.
But the more I use it, the more I come to appreciate, the vapor. But I just never, the problem with session style is I never know when to stop.
Yeah.
Like the flavor kind of goes away, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should just keep going.
Well, on the Mighty, I've gone 10 minutes past where vapor's produced and still gotten effects from it.
See, and so, I stopped way before because the taste is just gone.
Yep.
I mean, I've heard people say I'm a bit of a flavor whore myself, and it's just, once the flavor's gone, you're kind of just like, eh. And again, the tricky thing with cannabis, and vaporizing especially, I can see where people get frustrated with vaporizers, not knowing, how dark to take it. You see other people, and it's really just a trial and error.
It is, definitely.
And that's, anyone getting into vaporizers needs to understand that they're going to find their own stride. What works for you isn't going to work for everyone. That's fine. If you only hit it till the flavor's gone, and I wouldn't say you're missing out.
No.
You're
You're definitely missing out on effects, because the longer you sesh, obviously, the more lifted you're going to find yourself. But I would say most people should start thinking about stopping when the flavor profile is gone that they're looking for.
Right, you kind of get that charred taste, and the Fury does it to me, and definitely the Mighty, where you're like, you start hitting it and you're like, yeah, this kind of tastes charred, and you're not combusting. I mean, it's
not even close in those two vapes.
Yeah, it's not a problem there, but you're just like, yeah, I don't taste anything.
Yep.
And that's
all the terpenes are gone.
Yeah, that's the one thing that, as I start, I'm fairly new, kind of a background, I guess. I, started about a year ago, didn't think smoking was the healthiest way to do it, so I looked into vaporizers, and, along I went and kept, jumping down the rabbit hole.
Yep.
But it's a weird thing, because even, in today, I'm like, am I not going long enough? Do I need to do more? Smoking is definitely an easier ease of use, or even edibles, you eat it.
Yeah, then you're done.
There's no,
as long as you get the dosage correct with edibles, you're fine.
There's no guesswork to it.
No.
And, you know, some vaporizers are. Some are a lot more tricky. The Firefly 2 was actually my first vaporizer to kind of gauge when I got into the industry. Firefly 2 was my first. It had just come out not too long.
So your first vaporizer had a strong learning curve.
Very, and I didn't love it. I mean, I watched reviews and I didn't understand the learning curve, and that's the, you know, you get something and you don't quite understand until it's in your hands, and you're like, oh, well, those guys made it look easy.
Yep.
And so you're kind of trying to figure it out, but I did, man, I actually put it away for a while, and I picked up the, gosh, I want to say I picked up I picked up an herbalizer. Wow. That was expensive, and I again didn't use it very much. The bag didn't seem to work well. You know, I really can't remember what I got after that, but I put the the Firefly 2 away, and as I bought more vapor, at one point I was buying vaporizers 2x2. I mean, I had a problem.
I was buying them 10x10, man.
Oh,
I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I was buying things before they were released, just so I could test them.
It happens. And I actually came back to the Fury 2, and once I kind of got my draw down, it worked great for me. It's something I don't, the Firefly 2.
Yep.
I don't use it as much still because, again, when you have a lot of options, you tend to use
what's
what
the
works.
easiest. Yeah.
But it was interesting, and that's the sad thing when someone buys one vaporizer. Like, for instance, the Mod Pod.
Yep.
You buy the Mod Pod, and there's a learning curve. If the seal isn't just right, you know, if air's getting in, you're not going to get vapor again with the Haze Square. Yeah. I felt that was the problem. And, you know, I see people on the forums say, you know, I hate it, I can't get vapor, and it's too bad because that's their first vaporizer. That's their introduction.
And they're disappointed.
Yeah, and you say, you know, it's easy when you have 3 or 4 or something, you know, despite my gripes, and not that I dislike it, but the Mighty is easy.
Yes.
You know, the Fury 2 is easy. It produces vapor.
Yep.
And those are, you know, that's where I would say to start with people, but it's unfortunate that they get kind of a more complex one and they can't figure it out, and it branches them away. And I think that's what's nice with what you guys are doing. You're testing vaporizers as well. If something doesn't feel right, it feels cheap, you know.
We don't sell it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I've seen you do it 2 times in particular, and you had to trash the stock that you had of it.
Yep.
And it's too bad. But it's nice that you're, you know, bringing it out for people to see, people to know that, hey, this isn't where you want to go despite the price point.
Exactly.
And hopefully, you know, the people in the companies say, hey, you know, we can change something, but, you know, it's nice that you're testing things.
Yes. Yeah. I love doing it. We plan on getting way more in depth with our testing after the holiday season.
Okay.
But we're still writing up the plans for it. Eventually, we would like to have accurate temperature measurements of the ovens and whatnot, accurate temperature measurements of air that you pull through the oven, just to see how much convection and conduction there is for each vaporizer.
Right.
You know?
I mean, obviously, no one's going to question. You know, someone says, oh, it's conduction, convection, and no one's going to be like, oh, well, you know, granted, there are some people on the forums that really go to town and really,
oh, yeah.
You know, they have the equipment to test things, but for the most part, you take everybody's word kind of face value. If they say that's what it does, you know, you got to say that's what it does.
Well, if you actually look at Boundless, when they first released the CF and the CFX, they released it as convection technology, and it was proven to be hybrid, so they had to change their box.
Huh.
They were called out on that on fuckcombustion.com, and shortly after they were called out, they changed every single box, they apologized to everyone, and they fixed the issue.
Right.
You know? They were under the impression that putting the screen at the bottom where it was raised about 3 millimeters was enough to create convection, but they didn't realize that the sidewalls were heating the earth too.
Right.
Obviously, that's pretty easy to test for when you know what to look for, but little things like that still happen in the industry.
Right. I mean, people are building vaporizers out of their garage.
Yes.
And people, I mean, I believe the Firewood 5, is it Firewood? Is that what it is? I mean, I believe that is built out of a guy's garage.
Correct, in Massachusetts. He actually lived 30 minutes from my old house.
Okay.
Yep.
And it's a great, you know, I don't own one, but everybody that I've heard that have it, you know, they love it.
Exactly.
And, you know, there's definitely quality out there, and there's things that you just need to look for. Typically, if people are ranting and raving about a vaporizer, it's quality.
Yes.
I mean, it's, you know, money's the same way. You know, if it costs a lot of money, there's a good chance some of it might be overpriced, but like the Mighty, yeah, it's a lot of money, but it does perform.
And they actually are very good about their warranty too, which some companies are not. But Storz & Bickel stands by their products.
And they're full-blown medical.
Yes.
They have that to tout. It's been tested and it meets medical grade, you know, everything, which is nice. Because some people aren't, you know, they're not on the recreational side. They need it for medical properties, and at that point you need the best of the best. You don't want to be left feeling like, that didn't do it. The real question is, have you tried the Odin 2?
I have.
Ooh, how do you like it?
It works very well. It rips very well. The vapor quality is fairly nice, especially at the price point. I cannot stand the touch buttons on it.
Okay.
It's turned, like, if I'm using it and I brush by it, it's heat sensitive, so you don't necessarily need to completely come into contact with it. And you can actually change the temperature while you're vaping if you're pulling it in and out of a water pipe. Or if you're just seshing with it and picking up, putting it down on your desk a lot. I found that I would be seshing with it and then I'd go back because it felt like it wasn't hitting right. And it would either be at a higher temperature or a lower temperature depending on the session. And it was always, I ended up setting up a camera to see if it was something I was doing or if it was the device itself changing temperatures. And it was me, of course. It was me touching the touch sensor. But that's kind of crazy to see.
That is. I mean, it's exciting. It's something I definitely want to own. It is unfortunate that, I mean, there's a few people who have stated their gripes over it and things that should be changed. But
Sneaky Pete did a nice little quick overview of it.
Yeah, things that definitely bothered him. But, I mean, I gotta say, it's one of those things, again, it's gonna be at the right price point where it's like, I can't help myself. I can't go buy $500 vapes anymore as much as I want to.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things they aren't as affordable as they were, you know, months ago, but that's something that's like, just one more kind of thing.
Yep.
And they're always coming out. But
yeah, there's new vape releases every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. It tends to go in cycles though. It's not a bunch of vaporizers released in a row. It's a bunch of vaporizers released at the same time usually, within 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible to watch.
Yeah, they build some hype. There's definitely things that they try to improve upon, and then they release them, and you're like, just can't help but buy another one.
Yep.
And you gotta have the latest and greatest.
I think the new latest and greatest tech that I want to try is the Fierce.
Yeah.
That thing looks like it rips.
Yeah, the Fierce is nice. Like I say, the Fury 2 is beautiful. Love the Fury 2.
Yep.
If anyone,
same company, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, Healthy Rips.
Healthy Rips. If you're looking for a vaporizer to start, those two are probably, I've yet to try the Fierce, but I'd like to, and I gotta believe it performs just as well as the Fury 2.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that it performs much better than the Fury 2. So.
See, and that's beautiful. It's just a bigger bowl, correct?
Correct. Bigger bowl. It has a glass vapor path instead of glass and silicone.
Okay.
Because the Fury 2 has that little silicone piece on the bottom of the mouthpiece, and then a glass vapor path above that, and then a plastic top to the mouthpiece. The Fierce actually has an entire glass vapor path, which is very incredible to see.
Huh.
And then it has a larger bowl, of course, proprietary LiPo battery that's removable, but Healthy Rips doesn't plan on nickel and diming you for a battery. They're not going to charge you 40 or 50 bucks to buy a battery. They realize a battery is a battery and that people are going to want multiples, and that the cheaper the battery is, the more happy their consumers are going to be.
Right. Replaceable batteries are the future. I mean,
yes. And the LiPo battery is much, much safer than an 18650.
Right. Not to keep this too long-winded for, people like short videos, I understand that. But you like the Ghost MV1.
Correct.
I know you love that one, and that is one that it had a silicone taste to me. It tasted like a Nike shoe, and I couldn't get past it. First 2 bowls didn't produce as much, it's hard to say. You watch Vape Critic hit stuff, you watch all these guys, and they know what they're doing. They know techniques. So I got it, and I'm like, oh, it's a heavy hitter, it's been endorsed by all these people. And the first bowl, just not a lot of vapor. I'm like, okay, maybe I need a different pack, different method. But then it just started tasting like silicone. And again, it's the same thing where if it's not mind-blowing from the beginning, I'm gonna put it away.
Yep, I understand that.
That's impressive that you love it, but what have you done to really I mean, did you ever get that experience, or is that something you just had to
My
push through?
original Ghost, I had an original one right after the beta. I bought one, and I think it was 3 weeks after they released it, right? I bought one, had it shipped to my house, opened it up, was very, very happy, pleased to get it. I had the same initial issues. I had very low vapor quality. I had somewhat bad silicone taste to it. I'm very particular. I can notice different types of plastic, I can notice different types of steel, and I can notice different kinds of silicone that are being used. I can actually tell you, like, if I use a vaporizer and there's plastic somewhere near the vapor path, it doesn't have to be on it, but if there's somewhere near and it hasn't cured all the way or something, or if it's low quality plastic, I can generally tell within 1 or 2 hits. And most people aren't like that. But with the Ghost, I definitely had that. The thing that fixed that for me was actually washing the silicone with a damp Q-tip, and that fixed it. It was just with water, nothing else. That seemed to fix every problem that I had with it. The other issue that I have with my unit is the overheating issue. But with every new unit that I've tried, because we have 4 in the shop, we have a black, a satin silver, regular silver, I can't remember what they call it, and lovely bird. And we have a gold one in the shop. With all 4 of them, though, I don't have the silicone taste, and they're brand new, never been cleaned or anything. We didn't even do burn-offs on those, just so that we could see what it tasted like from the factory. And on top of that, they produce much better clouds, and I haven't had an overheating issue with them yet, except for on concentrate mode, which we personally don't recommend the Ghost for concentrates. We even say that in the video that we produced.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those, I just didn't look into it much. I'm blessed that I can put a vaporizer away, and it's not my only vaporizer, and that, I don't have to go through meeting with, talking with the company, and they've been great to me. I have talked to them about minor things, and they were great. I had the scratching on the glass. But luckily they took care of that. They sent me a new one. But unfortunately, that's what I ran into, and it got shelved because of it.
Understandable. Should retry it. See if you see if cleaning it helps.
Might have to be the Firefly too, and bring it back out, and maybe this time around I'll just love it. Did you ever try the Lotus?
I owned a Lotus for 6 months actually while I was in college.
Oh, love the Lotus.
Love it. Yep.
Love it. Just
it's a heavy hitter.
From the first hit. And it's not direct butane. That's what I like about it. I don't like...
You heat a metal plate, and then the metal plate heats the air, and you pull the hot air through.
Yeah, and
it's not even conduction. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's massive clouds. You think you're combusting, and then you're like, it's great.
And it's barely even browned at all. It's nuts.
The Fury 2 dosing pods fit in the Lotus perfect.
I've heard.
I've tried that out. If you keep the lid off, it creates better vapor. With the lid on, it's not as great. But for anyone who owns one, that is a little something I found that you could use if you want an on-the-go for that. And that's the other thing. I love things that you can have pods. You know, at Storks and Bickle does it, and all that, and you just keep them with you. And when you want to throw in a new one, you're on the go. You don't have to, pour out a bag of herb and be like, oh, let me just put that in there. And it's just nice. Or, chamomile, who knows? Who knows what you're vaping on out there?
A lot of people vape peppermint and diamia, I think it's called. I've noticed that. I haven't seen a lot of people vape chamomile. I've seen people vape hops, which are actually in the same, I want to say family as cannabis.
I've heard about that. I've seen slight stuff about the, the differences. The chamomile is a Dan joke. Dan will understand that from Mod Pod. He says he's vaping chamomile a lot.
Well, he actually does vape chamomile.
Does he really?
No.
Okay. Wow, he threw me off there.
No, he does a lot of CBD herb on his live streams, though. I've noticed that.
Yeah, CBD's great. Great place to start. Anyone new, again, coming into it.
If you're not looking for a psychedelic effect,
Yeah, CBD is a great place to start because it keeps you nice and calm and doesn't affect your mind. Lavender, though, I've vaporized lavender before. I've actually mixed it in with my herb, and it's not terrible.
I can't do it. Maybe it's because I don't like lavender in general. I don't like lavender scents. I don't like lavender flowers. I don't like the color lavender. So maybe I'm a little biased, but I tried it once, and I won't ever try it again.
It's a crying shame. Not even in the flavor chamber of the
No, I put
the
peppermint.
IQ's
I
got
put
it.
peppermint in my IQ flavor chamber. That's pretty nice.
The plant itself, or did you just do
Just
drops?
dried peppermint leaves.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe I'll have to give that a try.
Yeah, it was actually really nice.
Where did you find these said leaves?
I grew them.
Okay.
Yeah,
There
you can
you
actually
go.
buy a little herb packet from Walmart. It comes with the little thing, and I think it's $3. And 3 months later, you have a peppermint like plant. It's really nice. You can get spearmint, peppermint, chives, anything basically.
I'll have to
That's
look
a
into
little
that.
herb.
Well, I'm not going to keep this going forever. Got to leave something for the people. But Zakk, definitely thanks for being here.
Wonderful meeting you, Zakk.
Thanks for letting, yes,
Zakk
the
squared
Zacks,
here.
Zakk squared. I'm Zakk. I'm looking to do more of this. If you want to subscribe, that'd be awesome. And I look forward to seeing you guys again.
See ya.